We are kicking off today with WWE NXT as mere weeks after making his debut in the silver brand, Ricky Saints is the brand new NXT North American Champion. In the main event, Saints and Shawn Spears delivered the clear match of the night, and Saints was able to get the win despite attempts to interfere by the calling. Izzy Dame was the first to intervene, sliding the title belt to Spears, who used it to level Saints, but only for a near fall, and Saints was able to fight off Brooks Jensen and Nico Vance. The crowd chanted "Tony fumbled" throughout the match, a pointed reference to Tony Khan, as both the champion and challenger going into the match had once been a part of AEW. Saints' celebration would be short-lived though, as Ethan Page attacked the new champion after the match and posed with the NXT North American title to close the show. This was a clear nod to a future feud and likely match at NXT Stand and Deliver, and fans can expect an excellent match between the two All Elite alum. The question now is what this means for Spears, as his reign had been his first title on WWE programming, but now his time as champion has come to an abrupt end. Are you pleased to see Ricky Saints with the gold, or should WWE have kept the North American title on Shawn Spears for longer? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. One name certainly proud to see Saints get the win is fellow AEW alum Jade Cargill, who said she was proud of the new North American champion in a tweet. Jade and Saints are close friends, with Saints even filming Jade's recent video vignette following her return, as the Storm is pleased to see Ricky win gold so quickly into his WWE NXT career. NXT opened up with Stephanie Vaquer and Ava in the ring, and it was confirmed that Vaquer will vacate the Women's North American Championship. This was an odd move given that WWE has been making a big deal about Vaquer being a double champion, and given the fact that she defended both titles on last week's show. WWE had Vaquer positioned as a fighting champion ready to take on all comers, so having her give up one of the titles just a week after defending it seems like a bizarre decision. It perhaps would have made more sense if Ava had forced Vaquer to relinquish the title, but instead this was presented as a decision the no longer double champion wanted to make. In this segment, it was also revealed that Vaquer will defend the NXT Women's Championship at Stand and Deliver and will get to choose who she puts her sole title on the line against. Jordan Grace wasted no time in confronting the champion, as did Jada Parker, and it's worth remembering that Grace got involved in Parker's previous title shot against the champ. A brawl would ensue that'd see security rush in to break things up, and Grace would send a member of security flying over the top rope in a very impressive throw. Who do you think Vaquer should face at Stand and Deliver? Are you disappointed with how her Women's North American title reign ended? Let us know in the comments section. With a new champion needing to be crowned, it was confirmed that a 6-woman ladder match will happen at Stand and Deliver with the vacated title on the line. Fans may not be aware, but this match will be something of a throwback given that the first champion, Kelani Jordan, won the gold in a 6-woman ladder match at Battleground 2024. A series of qualification matches will play out over the next couple of weeks, with their first match seeing Zaria earn her spot in the match with a win over Lash Legend. This was a meeting of two powerhouses, and Lash Legend dominated early on with her size and strength, and used a Lex Luger-inspired torture rack submission. Despite Lash's best efforts, Zaria got the win with a spear, and while this wasn't the most polished of matches, it was a hard-hitting bout that showcased both women. Legend reinforced her readiness for the main roster, while Zaria, in her first singles match in months, reminded everyone why she was such a sought-after free agent last year. There was another cinematic segment featuring the D'Angelo family, which didn't just serve the Don and his crew, but also introduced fans to each member of the Darkstate. Profiles had been created featuring the names and attributes of the new faction in an effective way to blend two of WWE NXT's biggest storylines into one segment. There were still signs of tensions between D'Angelo and Stax, and unless something changes soon, it appears that an implosion in the D'Angelo family seems inevitable at this point. Trick Williams appeared to make clear he wants a shot at the NXT Championship, and reflecting on the sacrifices he made to win the gold, Williams said that he lost a brother. This was a nod to his time with Carmelo Hayes, who is now part of SmackDown, and one has to wonder if Hayes and Williams could reunite when Trick is moved to the main roster. Javon Evans confronted Trick and said that he's in the position Williams was in last year, and now Trick is the Carmelo Hayes, the established star, not wanting somebody else to get the run. Trick didn't care for the comparison, but the pair were interrupted by NXT champion Femi, and Ava would emerge to make a triple threat match for the title at Stand and Deliver. The Darkstate would arrive and attacked Femi and Javon, and while there was a moment's pause with Trick, the faction also attacked the two-time former NXT champion. While fans have speculated that one of the three men could be an extra member of the Darkstate, that doesn't appear to be the case following this segment. That said, we can't count out one of these attacks being a setup to throw fans off the scent, and perhaps we'll get a much clearer answer at NXT Stand and Deliver. It's been confirmed that the Darkstate will make their in-ring debut next week in a match against Femi, Trick, and Javon, though don't expect the trio to last long as a team. Now, Liv Morgan is one of WWE's most popular stars, but recently the former Women's World Champion wanted no part of a fan's attempt to meet her. Ahead of this week's Raw, a fan in London attended a meet and greet with Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Dirty Dom, but brought a copy of Morgan's 2023 mugshot for her to sign. Instead of getting the image signed, though, the fan was ejected from the meet and greet, and a TikTok video shows the others at the event serenading the fan with the goodbye song. Morgan was arrested in Sumter County, California in late 2023 for possession of, and her attractive mugshot would quickly go viral online. Despite the arrest, Morgan didn't face punishment at the time, as THC isn't considered a violation of their wellness policy that requires suspension anymore. In January 2024, the felony case against Morgan was dropped, and the following month, she was fined $534 for a misdemeanor charge, bringing her case to an end. Morgan clearly doesn't want to be reminded about her run-in with the law, and this fan will probably remember to just bring a poster or action figures for the next meet and greet. But what do you think? Were WWE and Morgan right to have this fan ejected, or should she have signed the mugshot? Let us know your thoughts on this in the comments section below. We've got some serious news regarding Mick Foley now, as the WWE Hall of Famer and three-time world champion was recently involved in a car accident. On social media, Foley shared news about the crash, saying it had been a tough day, and he had no idea how he was still walking after the accident. Alongside a photo of himself with his wrecked vehicle, Foley shared that he'd been taken to the hospital and was dealing with soreness from his knees to his neck and a minor concussion. Foley's taken more than his fair share of concussions in his life, and his plans to have one more match were recently dashed after he began showing concussion-like symptoms. Foley was lucky to escape with his life this week, and we're wishing Mrs. Foley's baby boy all the best on his recovery after this incredibly scary situation. It was just over a month ago that WWE pulled off perhaps the most shocking twist in its history, turning John Cena heel in a brutal segment with Cody Rhodes. Since then, Cena has committed to getting booed by fans, an act that has been highly successful, but fans can expect plenty more twists in John's final year in the ring. Speaking to people, Cena was pressed for information about what the future holds for him, and though he didn't give details, he promised some big moments. He said, "I'm going to say that there's more unpredictability on the way. I think that's one strong point of the current state of WWE is its unpredictability in its programming." Cena also questioned why the interviewer would essentially ask him for spoilers on WWE's upcoming plans, and made clear that he wasn't going to do that. Since his heel turn, Cena has lashed out at fans, especially one kid in Brussels has vowed to be the last real WWE champion and buried Cody Rhodes during this week's Raw. But what else do you think is in store? Share your thoughts and predictions on what twists Cena has left in his final chapter of his career in the squared circle. It was earlier this year that WWE content landed on Netflix, and though fans thought this would mark an end to shows being censored, that hasn't been the case. Chants of Cena at recent WWE events have been muted on the platform, while Solo Sikoa's recent F-bomb has also been cut, and now another notable change has occurred. If you go to Netflix to watch WrestleMania 40, specifically the 6-team ladder match, then you'll find that Chants of Holy haven't just been removed, they've been replaced. Now, if you go to an epic moment such as Grayson Waller getting powerbombed onto a ladder or Tyler Bate taking air raid crash off the ladder, you'll be met with "This is awesome" chants. While these spots and the match itself may indeed be considered awesome, this isn't the chant fans had in mind when they experienced the match live inside Lincoln Financial Field. Should WWE and Netflix be changing chants, or is this a sad attempt to rewrite what actually happened at WrestleMania 40 as well as other shows? Share your thoughts down below. Back to NXT, and Kelani Jordan earned her spot in the women's ladder match at Stand and Deliver as she beat Roxanne Perez in what has to be considered an upset win. The two competitors delivered a back-and-forth match that extended past the commercial break, with both refusing to stay down. This was an exciting, competitive match that showcased Jordan's renewed focus while giving her arguably the biggest win of her career. With the prodigy not being in either the women's title or women's North American title scene, this only adds credence to the idea that Perez is wrapping up her time as an NXT superstar. If this isn't the case, then having her not appear at Stand and Deliver and WrestleMania 41 feels like a misstep, as her contributions to NXT have certainly earned her a spot on a marquee show. Backstage, Hank and Tank were trying out some fashion tips from Pretty Deadly, but wisely ditched the outfits for their match against the No Quarter Catch crew. It was the crew who got the win, and while Hank and Tank's popularity means they can afford to take losses like this, there needs to come a time when the pair begin winning their matches. Eventually, Hank and Tank will learn the key to success and capture tag team gold, but in the meantime, their journey is being used effectively to elevate NQCC with a quality TV win. Nathan Frazier was rather rude about Hank and Tank, which drew the ire of Axiom, as he said he wishes he could have a friendship like the one Hank and Tank enjoy. Once again, tensions were teased within Fraxiom, but in a surprising move, the NXT Tag Team Champions were confronted by Swipe Right, a tag team from WWE Evolve. A match was made for next week between the two teams, and a win over Fraxiom could instantly put Swipe Right on the map in NXT. And that was this week's NXT, and what did you make to the show? Did it get you excited for Stand and Deliver, and what did you make of Ricky Starks' win? Let us know down below. In 2022, Karrion Kross and Scarlett were brought back to WWE under the creative direction of Triple H, but now there have been signs that the duo could be on their way out. Fightful Select recently reported that Kross is in the final run of his contract year and his deal will expire this summer. It was also reported that there are no updates regarding active negotiations between the two sides, but Kross's online activity may have signaled that he is planning to leave. On Twitter, the former NXT champion changed his handle from Karrion Kross to his real name, Kevin Robert Kessler, an act typically done by superstars who have left WWE. While the pair were on Raw this week, a WrestleMania match isn't expected for Kross, who was part of the six-man tag Philadelphia Street Fight at last year's WrestleMania. Kross recently made his return to the Independents as part of the Chris Bay Benefit event, but now fans may be seeing much more of the Raw superstar outside of a WWE ring. Speaking of contracts, Fightful Select recently reported that Mariah is in the final year of her AEW deal, leaving fans to speculate on a WWE move for the former Women's World Champion. In an update, though, Sean Ross Sapp quashed the idea of an imminent move to WWE, saying that claims from fans that May is on an internal incoming list is not true at all. WWE sources confirmed with Sapp that May is not on some hypothetical list of talent about to debut for the company, and it's been reported that AEW is eager to re-sign her. It's not hard to see why, given that May has been part of arguably the most acclaimed women's storyline in AEW history, that being her wars with current women's champion Toni Storm. Now, it's entirely possible that May will choose to leave AEW for WWE, but at this time, reports that she's already set to arrive have been greatly exaggerated. Do you think Mariah May should leave AEW for WWE, or is remaining All Elite the right call for the glamour? Let us know your thoughts down below. Now, this week's Raw was a stacked show to cap off WWE's tour of Europe, but one name fans didn't see during the broadcast is CM Punk. While Punk was part of the post-show antics, including getting a win over Ludwig Kaiser, he wasn't on the show itself, and why did WWE keep the best in the world off the show? For one, Punk's appearance likely would have meant he'd have to address the favor, especially since he shared on SmackDown that him headlining WrestleMania isn't the favor in question. WWE clearly wants to drag out revealing what the favor is, and that likely meant Punk being missing from the show to avoid having to address the elephant in the room. It's worth noting that Punk had an in-ring promo on last week's Raw in Glasgow, and perhaps WWE didn't want to have Punk appear too frequently and lessen the impact of his appearance. If so, keeping him off the show would be a wise call, and of course there was plenty of other things WWE needed to get across on this week's Raw, which may explain why Punk was AWOL. For years, fans thought they'd never see CM Punk on WWE TV again, and while he wasn't around on this week's Raw, fans can expect the best in the world to show up again soon enough. Another name conspicuous by his absence as of late has been The Rock, who hasn't appeared for WWE since the Elimination Chamber Toronto Premium Live event. While Cody Rhodes brought up the final boss this week, John Cena didn't explain why exactly he sold out to his former rival, with fans wondering what role The Rock will play at WrestleMania. Speaking to Complex, Cody Rhodes was asked what message he'd like to send to The Rock and made clear that he hopes The Rock's role next month is staying at home and watching the show. Rhodes vowed to make sure fans leave WrestleMania thinking about him and not the Brahma Bull, but did acknowledge that he's learned a lot from The Rock. Whatever role The Rock will or won't play, Rhodes is ready to take on all comers, but can his title reign survive both the final boss and John Cena? Time will tell. And we're ending today with Jacob Fatu, who on WWE TV has proven to be as tough as it gets, but the Samoan werewolf recently shared a much different side. In a character-breaking video shared to Twitter, Fatu can be seen playing the piano, showing a much more civil side to the Bloodline member. With Fatu and Solo Sikoa showing tensions, a match between the two is expected, perhaps at WrestleMania, and whatever comes, at least Fatu will have his piano to relax.